everyone. I Neha Thakkar, Assistant Professor at New LJ Institute of Engineering and Technology. Today we are continue with the Unit 3. Today we are going to learn the two remaining, that is tuple and domain relational calculus. They are the non-procedural language. So we are going to discuss that today. So that is what the non-procedural query language. That means it is not going to be goes a step by step as a procedural language. So the form of this is what? T, where the P of T. The meaning is what? There is a tuple T which the condition, whatever the predicate is there, P of T, that will be true for all T. So this is the form of what? The tuple relational calculus. Now some another relational calculus are also going to be used, that is T of A. So it denotes what? The value of tuple on attribute A. That means here you have to specify some attribute and you can check the value. T belongs to R denotes what? Tuple T in a relation R. So this type of symbol we are going to use when we are writing the query with what? The tuple relational calculus. So we'll see some example. Those queries we have already solved with the relational algebra. So you know the concept. Just right now we are going to represent it in terms of what? The tuple relational calculus. So first one is find the all tuples from the employee relation. Right now there is no condition. Just you need to list the content of employee table. So how to do that? The main form is what? The T, that means tuple, where the T belongs to employee. That means the tuple belongs to employee. So here in this output should be what? The content or the information of what? The employee relation. The next one is what? Find out the employee whose salary is more than 10,000. Now some condition is here. So how to write that? There will be a T where, that means tuple, where tuple belongs to employee and the salary. So how we are going to write it? T of salary. As we have seen in the previous one, T of A. That means value of tuple on attribute A. So if I'll write T of salary, that means a salary attribute of that tuple in employee table, it should be greater than 10,000. So it will list the tuple which belongs to employee, but the salary is what? The greater than 10,000. Some condition is that. The next one is find the employee ID who joined or department is allocated or both. This we have seen, right? So how to do that? Either what? The employee is joined or the department is allocated or both can be there. So T where there exists a S, that means some tuple is exist in a employee where T of EMP ID equal to S of EMP ID. So T and S are used for the tuple, but the condition should be what? The T of EMP ID equal to S of EMP ID, right? Or there exists a some U, the tuple name, it is in an employee department, T of employee ID equal to U of employee ID. That means two table we are going to see for the result. One is the employee and the another one is what? The employee underscore department. And from that we are going to list the employee. The fourth one is list the employee ID who joined and department is also allocated. That means the tuple we want, in which way? It is in department underscore the EMP also and the employee table also. So how to do this? It should be combined with the AND. If it will be available in both the table, then we can go for that. So T where there exists S in employee where this T of employee ID must be S of employee ID and. Here we have used the or, here and. This means both the conditions should be true. Then we will get which information? The employee who have joined the department as well as the allocation of department is also there. So it will be in both relation employee and employee underscore department. So in this way you can define the any query in terms of what? The tuple relational calculus. The next one is what? The domain relational calculus. So it uses what? The domain variables and that take on values from an attributes domain rather than the value for an entire tuple. So it will be taking the value from what? Then attributes domain. We have seen that whatever, or you might be knowing the concept that whatever the values of attributes are there, that will be from some domain. So here the definition of this is what? X1, X2, X3 where the P of X1, X2 and Xn. So this is what represent the domain variable. That means from which particular domain the value of attribute is going to be taken. And P is what? The formula that composed of atoms. So first we will see that how to present a atom or in which form it is going to be that. So if we write like this, x1, x2, xn belongs to R. So where R is what? The relation of what? We can say the an attribute. And x1, x2, xn are what? They are the domain variable. That means from where, which domain the value is going to be taken. If we write like this, x theta y, where x and y are the domain variables and theta is a comparison operator. That means a less than, greater than, any comparison operator you can take. So we require the attributes x and y have domain that can be compared by a theta. That means any particular operator. Now x then theta c. That means x is a domain variable, theta is a comparison operator and c is some constant. In previously here x and y are a domain variable. In the third case the c is a what? Any constant. Now we need to build up a formula using the domain relational calculus. So for that some rules are there. So that rules are what? N atom is a formula. If P1 is a formula, then we can say that these two are also a formula. If P1 and P2 are a formula, then we can say that P1, then this P1 or P2, P1 and P2 and P1 that exists P2, that is also a formula. So in this way the rules are there. Normally the notation is used for this is what? There exists A, B and C. So A, B, C are what? The attribute where P of A, B, C, that means some condition should be satisfied. So in this way we can write the domain relational calculus. So we will see the example of domain relational calculus. First is find all the tuples from the employee relation. That means employee relation is having what? A 4 attribute. So for that we are going to specify the respective domain. So ID, name, city and salary. These are the name of what? A domain. In relation employee the attributes are emp underscore ID, emp underscore name, like that. But here we have to specify the domain where each domain that belongs to what? The employee. So it will give the information of employee as a output. You can see that we have created or we have taken a same query for all these three. Either it is a domain, a tuple or a relational algebra. So easily you can find out the difference between all these three. The second one is find out the employee whose salary is more than 10,000. That means some condition is that. So how to just specify that? So you can see that here the domain where this domains are belongs to employee. This is same up to the previous one. Now after that salary greater than 10,000. So this is condition. It will be just combined with this one, previous one. Now this is what the form of, here we can consider the greater than as a theta. This is nothing but a domain variable, that is salary, and here it's a constant one. So just you need to define it in terms of this. So in this way we can specify any query in terms of what? The domain relational calculus. Thank you for watching this video.